So, welcome everyone to this question and answer interview. Today, I'm pleased to have with me Sandra McCabe. She's the site manager for CMHA here in Strathroy. And welcome, Sandra. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brad, for having me.
Very welcome. CMHA is short for the Canadian Mental Health Association. And for those who are watching not familiar with CMHA, the Strathroy site, I just moved from Sarnia not that long ago. The Strathroy site serves West Middlesex County, and goals include promoting good mental health, prevention of illness. There's various services and education. And so, before we get into talking, Sandra, about what it is that CMHA does specifically, let's give our listeners an opportunity to get to know you. Can you tell us something about whether your background, your training, and your role at
Sure.
CMHA?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I've actually come from a background of social work, working in the social service field for well, probably about 20 years now. And so it's really helped me in my role now. I started off at when this agency was Search, and now 15 years later, I'm still here, and we're amalgamated to CMHA. The last 4 years, I've worked in the leadership capacity, and yeah, so actually, I just started back in Strathroy in this specific role on March 16th, so day one of the pandemic.
Oh,
And
wow. Wow.
previous to that, I was a manager at the crisis services at Huron Street and stabilization. So yeah, so it's really great to be back here because sort of my roots are in Strathroy. I started as a case manager and moved into team lead, and so it's a very familiar setting,
Mm.
and it's a great community to work in.
Oh, well, then we're fortunate to have you back in
Thank you.
town. Uh,
Thank you.
so you are a social worker,
Yes.
and can you talk about some of the services, whether it's social work services or other services that CMHA offers here in Strathroy in general, before
Sure.
and after the pandemic?
Yeah. Things definitely have changed after the pandemic, but prior to, in our regular days, yes, Strathroy, our site is very small but mighty. We're based out of CMHA Middlesex, based out of London, and so Strathroy site is a mini model. We're located at 21 Richmond Street in Strathroy. Our site is open 8:30 to 4:30, Monday to Friday.
Mhm.
And the services that we have here, Brad, are information intake and referral. We have a community wellness program, counseling, transition case management, housing first, and crisis response services. So it's a team of about 25 people, and we do a lot.
There are 25 people on staff there in
Yes.
clinical services of some
In
form.
some, yeah, yes.
Okay. This is Mental Health Week. This
Mhm.
week or coming up? Um,
It's actually this week. It's on May 5th to 10th. Yeah.
how do you do mental health? You probably had some plans before the pandemic came along, and to do it now, I mean, needed all the more so, I bet. But what's happening around Mental Health Week at CMHA?
So every May, people in Canadian communities, schools, workplaces rally around Mental Health Week. So it was first marked by CMHA in 1951, and this year, 2020, marks the 69th annual Mental Health Week. So Mental Health Week helps to shift our views and perceptions, beliefs about mental health. It promotes behaviors and attitudes that foster well-being, support good mental health, and creates a culture of understanding and acceptance. Mental Health Week is widely recognized on social media and in the news media, and with local events like open houses and speakers series. However, this year, to respect physical distancing measures, these events will be celebrated virtually.
Mhm.
So our theme, Brad, this year, Mental Health Week, is social connection. Connecting with other people and our communities doesn't just feel good, it's good for our mental health.
I'm just curious, was the theme of social connecting chosen before or after social distancing became new to our common lexicon?
That's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that, Brad, but
Someone
it's
was prescient in selecting that.
yeah, yes. Yeah, so research shows that social connection and social supports are factors that protect and promote good mental health. Feeling socially connected means that you feel close and connected to others, and you don't have to be in physical proximity to nurture a sense of closeness and connection. Social isolation and loneliness are bad for everyone's health, everyone's mental health. Canadians are feeling isolated, and that's up 8 points from 39% to 47% in less than 1 month. And anxiety is higher at 45%. The stats also show that 2/3 of Canadians, 67%, report that they would like to experience more meaningful social interactions in their daily life. So it's really significant right now, and we're very aware of this. So we've been really, reaching out and supporting people, and getting our message out that we're here, we're to support people, and just to make that connection.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
You mentioned a speakers series. That are you able to do that still virtually? And who's this? What speakers do you have lined up?
So, well, right now we're sort of putting that speaker series on hold, but what we are starting to do with CMHA is we're starting to offer virtual groups. And
Hmm.
so if you look at our website, we have some groups that are being offered to support the needs of people in finding coping strategies, and to support each other through this period of time. So yeah, it's very pressing on everyone's mind. We're trying our best to pass on tips around mental wellness. I have some points here that I could share with folks too around how to be reminded of positive mental health
Yes.
through this period. You don't
Yes,
mind me sharing?
because I'm no doubt there are people who are watching who um, are wondering, what are the things that I can do, in the confines of my own home to improve
Mm-hmm.
my situation or to deal with any mental health concerns they have. So, yeah, what are the tips?
Sure. Yeah. So then it's really important to acknowledge and normalize that feeling of anxiety that everyone's feeling, and try not to avoid or ignore or suppress those anxious thoughts. Instead, to be aware of that anxiety and accept that you're feeling anxious in the situation. Try to keep things in perspective and notice and challenge those thoughts that may be really extreme or unhelpful. Another really important piece, and we hear about all the time, is self-care and how critically important it is at this time, as worries can be made worse if we're not taking care of ourselves. So lean into your social supports, try to get enough sleep, eat healthy, exercise, and engage in enjoyable activities. Do the things that you would typically do to support your health, and be cautious, and follow the health and safety guidelines while doing those. Another really key piece is, and I find that myself, is to seek information from reliable news sources only.
Yes.
Right? Um, Limit checking in on the latest news, just to maybe short defined periods. Um, and then, appropriate information consumption can be calming and can lessen that sense of danger. And then, as we hear about it everywhere and how important it is to be reminded of Health Canada and the credible health agencies, that we want to make sure that we are washing hands, covering our mouth during when coughing or sneezing, and avoiding non-essential travel. A key piece that we want to remind people of also with CMHA is that if you're noticing symptoms of anxiety that are really distressing or interfering with your ability to function normally, to reach out for support. We have a number of different ways that people can reach out. We have our brief information support teams. We have, and through connecting there's a welcome form that people can fill out, and that's online, or calling our phone number at 519-434-9191. Or in Strathroy here, that's the London number in Strathroy. We also have a line 519-245-0120, and I can pass that information on to you, Brad, to post maybe in another way. And then another piece we really want people to know about is our reach out line, and that's a crisis line that people can reach out to when they're feeling in crisis, and that's the phone number of 519-433-2023. And our supportive listening line, and that's for times when you're needing to talk to somebody, perhaps you're not in crisis, but just needing to have that validating ear. And we have volunteers on that line, and these services are 24/7, and that's a phone number of 519-601-8055.
So, and I can post those numbers with the recording. And it sounds like CMHA has a number of ways that it's a number of doorways into services that are being offered. And I'm sure one of the challenges is to help people feel comfortable to go through those doorways and to be connected. And a lot of what you described within the tips reinforce that mental health awareness theme of connection and just the importance of those, as you put it, those protective factors that are so important for building resilience. And the pandemic has put a big dent in people's ability to be connected to organizations, social supports that are beyond the immediate family. What are you noticing about the impact of the pandemic on either the services that you're offering through CMHA or just service delivery in general? Before we talk about what you've put in place as services during the pandemic, just what's the obstacle, the practical obstacle that's come up for you in service delivery?
Yeah, it's that face-to-face connection. Really, that's a big struggle for folks, and we're all feeling it. It's really that's a huge challenge, and so we've been trying to support people by reaching out, making calls to prevent people from feeling the isolation, being more proactive in that. Here at Strathroy site, we've run a lot of groups, and that's really brought people out from the county and offered social supports in the past. So often our numbers it can be up to 50 or 60, in a day when we have our lunches. And so a lot of people, I feel, are really missing that face-to-face connection. So we've been trying different formats to support people in unique ways. And if you don't mind, I can get into some of those formats, Brad, to
Yes,
offer some insight into what we're doing. So like I spoke to, as our case managers and our counselors are reaching out to people and just sort of touching base, by phone, by text, by email, offering some brief support, and just keeping people connected that way. Because we're a small team, we've really revamped our services here at Strathroy site, and some of the case managers are now working, different hours and supporting the hospital. Our hospital
partnership with Sarnia Hospital. Oh,
With the
Strathroy
Strathroy,
Hospital.
yeah, yeah, we're considered an essential service with the hospital. We have had workers for the last 12 years who are on call and will support people who present at the hospital in mental health crisis. They will do an assessment and then support the staff at the hospital in determining the needs of the individual. And then we offer follow-up crisis counseling or support that way. So we've really been working in maintaining that to support the hospital during this pandemic time. So we have workers who are sort of carrying a pager, working their regular shift, and then going in if they're paged to support the hospital staff in that capacity. And that way we can also provide those connecting calls afterwards to folks.
Mhm.
So that's I think been a real help to the hospital. We also have a partnership with the Strathroy Police, and we will support them in doing follow-up calls when there's mental health or addictions needs, and providing them some support and the individual to have somebody to reach out to connect to, and to offer resources to. And we're trying to do our lunches still. And so we have a great cook, Beth, and she comes in 2 or 3 times a week here still. We've had a lot of donations from different places in supporting us. We've had mass delivered, and we've been able to supply people with some material mass. We have hygiene products, and then the meals. And so twice a week, our staff are going out and delivering meals to people, and just keeping the physical distancing, but it's sort of an eyes on. It's a connection with somebody. So on average, we would have about 150 meals each week we've been able to deliver since the beginning of March. So yeah.
When you describe that, I'm thinking it might be helpful for someone who's watching and who's been thinking about reaching out to contact CMHA.
Mhm.
If you could describe from that person's perspective, what can they expect will happen when they pick up the phone and dial? Like what happens after someone answers the phone? What's the intake process look like in kind of, well, I suppose some specific terms to help those folk imagine that, it's
Mhm.
going to be okay, safe to do that?
Yeah, yeah. So if someone is, interested in services, and often we'll have people just sort of calling us to ask about resources in the community too. And we very knowledgeable staff who know the county really well. So placing that first call takes a lot of courage at times for folks, and it's just overwhelming and so important to do. And it's just, we admire people who reach out for support.
Mhm.
So just placing that call in, you're going to get a friendly voice. You're going to get somebody who's going to um, ask, can I help you? And just if someone could sort of articulate what their needs are, even if it's just, I need to have, a connection, I need to, have a listening ear. It's just trying to, get the message out, what they're really wanting, and we can take it from there. So we have different formats of that, Brad, so people can call into our phone number and then and talk to somebody, and they can support them in just taking the basic information, and we'll give them a follow-up call. One of our workers will do a follow-up call, or that people can go onto the website and complete the welcome form that we have, and that just is giving somebody permission to call that person back, and talk about services and what they're looking for. So
Okay.
it's just reaching out, really.
So Sandra, a person can call, and they don't necessarily have to say who they are, but they can ask questions about the services, explore a bit, and
Sure, they
then
can.
when they're ready, someone who's on the other end of the phone, for example, will then gather some information to find out how to best fit the services that you have to what their need is. And then I imagine there's a bit of waiting, or what does waiting list look like?
Well, we've really we really revamped that so that we can meet people's needs. We have a team called the Brief Information Support Team, and they're these staff. This is a staff that will call somebody back, and we'll invite them in for an intake. And often you're looking at maybe a week or two. The phone call back will be quick, and then just booking in for an appointment. And that appointment right now is over a phone, but it would take probably about a 40-minute call, and just asking questions around, what their current situation is, and what they're looking for, and how best they would like, what kind of support they would like. And then that brief information support worker will follow them. We'll do a touch base call until they're linked to the service or the support that's a best fit for them at that time. Okay. So it's a way that we've tried to reduce our wait lists. And in the past, we have found that we had some wait lists that were too long, and now we're just trying to meet the needs of people where they're at and when they call.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that description. And you'd mentioned earlier that you have folk who are providing food, other resources, and there are probably people who are watching this video and maybe they have something that they can offer in terms of resources. What are the practical ways that people can contribute to CMHA to help it with its mission and mandate?
Mm-hmm. Anyway, just by calling in and sharing, if they have a donation, if they want to support our services, we're always looking for volunteers. Like in London, we have the supportive listening line, which I had mentioned, and that is that's all across CMHA, and so that's staffed by volunteers. People who are looking to donate can just call our office here and share what they're willing to do. We really count on donations to support programs and services. In the county, we're so far. It's rural, so it's hard to get transportation, and so we hire drivers who will support and provide transportation for folks to come into our site, and that requires extra funds too to support those services. So there's many great uses for people to donate and a need to support and to continue building our services to provide the support for people.
Are the monetary donations charitable receipts? Do they receive charitable receipts from them? Okay, so they can use that for income tax.
Exactly. Yes.
An added incentive to give. And right now, in the midst of the pandemic, are there any specific items that CMHA is in need of, or is it that it's best not to leave anything at the doorstep, or what? Because I know in some of the other interviews that I've done, people are curious, like, what can I do right now that's tangible? Right. So what, is there a specific item that's needed, or anything you can think of?
It's kind of like right now we sort of gather. It varies from person to person. So I had a staff request some art supplies to support somebody who's finding it really challenging in their home right now. So and so that comes out of sort of our donation box, right, to support somebody. We have a great garden out back, so we're looking at growing some wonderful food for the kitchen and for the lunch program. So extra donation funds can go to those kinds of the foods to continue this lunch program going. So it's really hard, Brad, to say specifically what's in need. Sometimes people are looking for laptops or phones to support the technology piece. But really, it's yeah, any little bit helps
Mhm.
for people who are really,
'Cause
need.
there's a play therapist or an art therapist on the clinical staff there, isn't there?
Yes, yes, there is. Yeah.
So off the top of your head, typical art therapy um, supplies that might be needed to help someone imagine what they could donate.
Yeah, that would be a possibility too. Right now, we've moved into the virtual group format, so that is something that we're looking at too, and providing groups around possibly, mindfulness and self-compassion and those kinds of the realms. And yeah, it's interesting how you know. How we want, how we where we go from here in providing support to people, and how long this will last. But we appreciate any amount or any offerings would be great. Yeah.
And for the garden, again, that requires supplies. Can you describe the garden and what you do? What are there tools that you need?
Well, sometimes hands and weeding is
Oh,
what we have. One of our community wellness staff, and she is just awesome at gardening. And so we've grown wonderful vegetables over the years to supplement the meals that our cook Beth will provide to people. Um, so yeah, specific tools I can't really answer to that, Brad, but yeah, just
mhm.
uh, yeah, it's right now we're looking at tilling it and getting our seeds in and thinking about best produce to support the need that's out there, and cook the best meals that we can. So mhm.
I know there are a number of retired farmers around town who still itching to get their hands a little bit dirty.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are there anything else that you want to bring up? Any other needs or services that people should know about before we wrap up?
Well, yeah, I just thought, well, I was thinking about this interview is, just the good news stories that can come out of, our services. And I think that's sort of helpful for people to hear is that, if I can share a couple of those, and then,
Please.
yeah, yeah, that would be great. Just something that, we're always looking for ways that, you know, um, people feel that they gained, and one of the participants had shared with us the gratitude for themselves and for the staff at Strathroy site. This individual explained that 2 years ago she was homeless in a very bad place, and now after receiving and participating in the services at Strathroy CMHA, such as the counseling and community wellness, at workshops around assertiveness, DBT, CBT, and case management support. She's now fully employed and has a home. So we like to celebrate those success stories.
Hmm.
Another woman, she shared that she came here to support her daughter who lives in the county and who is unwell. She noted that going to community wellness allowed her to make some friends, get some, have friendships, and get some needs met like laundry, meals, and connections. And she shared her gratitude for the support, and also the help in getting a doctor connected that way, which she found that her health just blossomed since then. So we hear these stories, and we want to make sure that we remember that um, you know good work is being done even in unique times,
Hmm.
and we want to celebrate that. And then often we're hearing thank you from participants or clients who appreciate the touch base and the meals, and the support. It just like it's a supportive ear, right? Just somebody to say, hey, how are you doing, and to and offer that. So those are things that I think is important for us to keep in mind. Um,
And those are the
yeah.
kinds of stories I'm sure that keep you going and keep the rest of the staff going.
It does.
in not only these times, but along the
Yeah.
way in non-pandemic
Yeah.
times.
Yes. It reminds you of why you enter the field to support
Yes,
and help people, right? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So, yeah.
so gonna wrap up here the interview, and before I give my final thank yous, is anything else that you want to add or note for people?
I would like to just mention, Brad, that, in the news, in some of the news pieces, there's been some announcements that there's been some money that has come through for virtual services.
Hmm.
And so CMHA wants to make sure people are aware of the expansion of the online services around with Bounce Back, and that people can access that if they're struggling and they need some counseling. Bounce Back is a program that has expanded, and it's grounded in CBT. It's a self-guided approach that's proven effective to help people 15 and up who are feeling low, stressed, worried, depressed, irritable, or angry. It offers telephone coaching, skill building workbooks, online videos to help them overcome mild to moderate symptoms and gain new skills. It's not a crisis service or a counseling program, but it's a life skills course that helps participants develop coping techniques.
Hmm.
So if people are interested in this, to visit bouncebackontario.ca, and they may get some support that way also. And just, accessing our website, calling, asking questions. We're here to help, and we want to help. And we really, admire and appreciate people who are reaching out to get that help that's needed.
So Bounce Back is www.bounceback.ca and
Yeah, bouncebackontario.ca. Sorry.
bouncebackontario.ca,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
cmhamiddlesex.ca
Yes.
for our local CMHA site, if people need to find some more information. Um,
Exactly.
Then, Sandra, thank you for taking this time in the midst of a busy time and late on a Friday after a busy week for sure. On behalf of the community, I want to extend thanks to you and to the staff at CMHA, not only for the work that you're doing right now in the midst of this crisis, but for the ongoing work that you do. It's an important part of the care that our community is able to access, and we know that it only happens because of the commitment by folk like you at CMHA and the partners that you have. So thank you for this time, and I want to thank the folk who are watching this video. Those who, in watching the video, are wondering, okay, what can I do to support? How do I contribute financially? I hope that you'll find some motivation to take some action. And for those of you who are wondering if perhaps you are needing to access the services at CMHA, that, as Sandra said, you'll know that you'll be in good hands, and that if you take that first step, you'll be well cared for following up on that. So with that, then, thank you, Sandra, and I wish you a good week and enjoy your weekend.
Thanks so much, Brad. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. Bye bye.